order. Thank you. The local planning agency is an advisory board of citizens appointed by the City Commission. This board is comprised of volunteers who represent the thoughts and concerns of the community. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to make recommendations to the City Commission regarding each item on the agenda. Fortunately, there's only one. Anyone in the audience who wishes to give testimony to any items on the agenda will need to be sworn in by the Deputy City Clerk. Citizens speaking on an agenda item or during citizen comment shall not engage in loud, boisterous, or disruptive speech or conduct. That means you, Bob. Any speaker that has continued inappropriate or irrelevant comments will be requested to relinquish the podium by the chair. Please be aware that the local planning agency is not a quasi-judicial board and therefore has no final decision-making power. Our procedures, however, are structured in a quasi-judicial manner for those who come before it. Tonight's format will be as follows. I will introduce the item on the agenda, after which the city representative will present information about it. Thereafter, the members of the local planning agency will ask any questions of the city representative. Finally, anyone from the public may come forward. Those from the public wishing to give testimony will need to approach the dais, state their name and address, and then utilize the speaker's lectern in order for their comments to be recorded. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time, and we kindly request that speakers are respectful of the countdown clock. Upon conclusion of each public hearing, the local planning agency will consider the evidence before it and vote on the agenda item. That voice vote is the rendition of the order of the board, and there will be no written decision issued by the board. The deputy clerk will now swear in all persons wishing to speak to or give testimony to any of tonight's agenda items.
Do you swear the testimony you are about to give in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
The first item on our agenda is Ordinance 24-25, termination of development agreement with Gateway Dunedin LLC for the Gateway Dunedin mixed-use project located at Main Street, Milwaukee Avenue, and Skinner Boulevard. Has anyone had any ex parte communications regarding this item? Nope. Thank you. Hearing none, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Bob Ironsmith, Economic Development Director for the City of Dunedin. Today kind of marks a restart, if you will, with the Gateway project. Certainly we've had a fairly long history with this project. As many of you know, I've been here a long time. Actually negotiated the purchase of this property in 2004. So it's been 20 years. But I'm very optimistic here for the next journey with this property. Tonight we're before you asking for conditional approval to terminate the existing development agreement through that ordinance 2425. This will allow the property to be re-envisioned or reimagined, if you will. The developer, Joe Kokolakis, is still very much engaged, still very much involved. He's certainly, the past project just economically became unfeasible due to inflation, economic conditions, high interest. The project grew from a $35, $40 million project to a $70, $75 million project. So what he would like to do is kind of clean the slate, start over. He is still very much looking at a boutique hotel and some other mixed uses, which would be a great entranceway to our downtown. I'm very much in favor of a hotel because it's what, from an economic perspective, we call a captive market. People that stay in a hotel purchase things downtown, as opposed to a lot of the merchants are always hit with the online aspect that many of us do. And so this is really the first step in doing that. The other aspect that will go to the commission is there's a piece of property called the Jernigan Track. It's 6/10 of an acre, which is just north of the Boy Scout property, if you will, next to Wellington Townhomes. He's obligated to go ahead and deed that over to the city. So that's another wrinkle that will go before the City Commission here on September 19th. But today, we're before you to start the process for conditional approval for termination of that development agreement. And the reason it's conditional is we need to just ensure, and of course we know, that he will deed the property over that Jernigan Track. So that's why it's conditional. And the commission will take care of that on September 19th, and then it'll go to the commission at a later date, I think it's October 3rd, for them to have the final approval on terminating the development agreement. So happy to answer any questions that you might have. We do have a representative from Kokalaka's Contracting here, Will Kokenauer's in the audience. We also have Sally, too, who are both with Joe Kokalaka. So be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
That's the first in a long time.
So Bob,
I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I've got to ask a question.
I don't know.
It's in my nature. So with the agreement terminated, Joe Kokalaka still owns the property, so he's still be, do we know at what time we may be looking at a new development agreement and?
Yeah, well, let me, no, I think it's a good question, and let me just add some additional information. So this will be terminated. We are not looking to do another development agreement with him, okay? He can come under site plan review with the boutique hotel and the mixed use. We're not offering incentives like we did with the first development agreement. We had incentives in there. This one will not have that. So he's looking to come in. I'm thinking he probably will look to try to get something started in the spring of next year, is probably what I'm kind of hearing from him. It's also kind of exciting because we had this plan that staff set out several years ago called the DEEP. And Commissioner Kynes, of course, remembers that, but Downtown East End Plan. And we're doing it. That included Skinner Boulevard, a new city hall. The old city hall is a park, which we're currently under concept drawings. And the John R. Lawrence Park, which we've already redone. So this is kind of the bookend into our downtown, so it's a very important piece for us. With Skinner, that overhead traffic signal and wires will become a mast arm. We're going to go, as you know, from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. This whole area is changing, so perhaps the timing is even better now for Mr. Kokalakis to re-envision the property. You will see equipment on that property. DOT is going to use it as the staging area to do Skinner. So this project is probably still a little bit of time away, but all the steps he'll go through, I'm sure he'll probably accomplish the next year or so, and we're going to help him get there. By having this property developed, it adds an awful lot to the city. We're probably talking about $200,000 in tax dollars. That's a big deal for the CRA. We're talking about employment. We're talking about a lot of positive things. And if you look at Skinner now, even though we haven't started the project, which will start in November, we're already seeing economic aspects going. You'll see Terry Hodge is doing a new office and some apartments for B&B there. They're looking at a craft brewery there on the corner of Douglas from Jack Norton. So economically, it's already started. This whole area will transform. The goal was always to make Skinner part of downtown and to make this piece a showcase piece. The other thing that's exciting is the hospital across the way is looking to take that brick and paint it white and make it a little bit more modern. If you've seen closely, the hospital's already put in a whole bunch of landscaping. Things are changing. It's pretty exciting to watch this happen. And so I know I'm adding more than just this property, but I just want to kind of give you a feel of what's happening in the whole area.
Good. We'll be excited to see the proposal when it comes through.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That'll be another part to see, is how it all plays out, and you will see that for sure.
Does anyone from the public have any comments to make?
Sure, you have to come to the podium, I'm sorry.
on up.
Yeah. No, that's okay. You're good. You're fine.
Mary Aaron, 938 Loudon Avenue. I just have one little question. When the original agreement went forward, especially when it came to the vacant property, that was going to be a park.
Yes,
The developer went ahead and got credits.
he did.
well, what will happen with those?
Sure, I know, it's a great question. So, thank you. As part of the original development agreement, Mr. Kokalakis purchased the 0.6 of an acre known as the Jernigan Track. Part of that agreement was there was a TDR, which is called Transfer of Development Rights. Density got transferred off of that site. It was 19 units, which could be for apartments. And then the site has to remain perpetually as green space public park. So that was kind of the deal. Did that answer your question? Yes. Okay, yeah. So there was benefits there too for Mr. Kokalakis with transfer of the development rights. And that's already occurred. That's why it's his obligation now to make sure that property gets deeded over to the city. So that's why it's conditional today.
Is there any other one from the public that would like to say something?
Howdy. Ronald Hunter, 538 Lexington Street. Good? Good. Okay, cool. Do we need any more hotels? Like, I like the idea of like mixed use, but I find that like having more hotels doesn't really gel, or I just don't understand. Are we looking towards doing more mixed use so we can have businesses and apartments above so we can, you know, have more population?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. I mean, it will be mixed use, but we do like the hotel because it actually feeds the downtown businesses, the restaurants and things like that. We're not looking at a 5-6-story type hotel. We're looking a little bit more of a boutique hotel with kind of mixed uses. But yeah, I think it's very valid what you mentioned relative to you know, having a combination of housing and businesses. And, you know, obviously we did that with the Artisan on Douglas with Nature's Food Patch. This site's a little bit bigger, and the right-of-way is a little bit bigger, so that's why it kind of lends itself toward a boutique hotel.
So Bob, just in line with that question
Yeah.
a little bit, I know we got the Ocean Optics property, and we've seen developments that were condo-oriented, then we had the Sterling property, which more hotel-based.
Yeah.
Would the addition of another smaller hospitality business up there direct development at Ocean Optics any differently, in your opinion?
That could. We'll have to see how that all plays out. So much is economics. And you know, we do have a new owner there at the Ocean Optics. That's another one that's been a long time in the queue, for lack of a better word. And we don't have anything definitive on the concepts, but I think, yeah, mixed use is definitely where we want to be with that. And how the housing part works out, I just don't know at this point in time. Okay. But, yeah. We really want the balance. You know, it's funny. And I'm digressing. When I first came to the city, it was 1995, and we didn't have much residential downtown. And the Monroe Park Townhomes was the first deal that I put together with John Freeborn Law Office. We did land exchange and all. So it's always been our goal to kind of have this balance, if you will. And a lot of times economics plays a little bigger role than what you want to see from a planning perspective. But I think a hotel is a good fit there. And it's certainly Joe Kokalakis does quality. And he's very big in artwork and things that will make it very attractive. So it's not going to be a franchise-type hotel that lacks kind of a character or soul to it, you know. So we're excited about it. And of course, that's his initial thought. He could change, too. We don't have anything definitive at this point in time, other than we know banks are lending toward hotels at this point. So.
Bob?
Yep.
We had a question on the TDRs. Why don't you explain it a little bit, you know, a little more?
Sure.
Because he's gifting the land, but with that gift, he gets more development rights. Maybe you can explain it.
Yeah, he certainly does. What, you know, I still call you Commissioner Kynes. It's been so many years, I can't get out of my head. So, but anyway, I've been so many times before Deborah. But anyway, a TDR, basically, there's ability within the Land Development Code that says someone can purchase a property, and if it's adjacent, they can transfer the density count off of that, but then the place has to stay as just green space. They can't double dip. So in this case, he buys the Jernigan tract, he takes the density off, which we were using as an incentive for the gateway, it was 19 units, but then it needs to stay as a perpetual green space or public park. So that's kind of what he did. And that's why it's conditional. He needs to carry forth, and he will, deeding that property over to the city, which will then make his requirement satisfied under that development agreement. Does that work? Okay.
Is there any other comments from the public? Then we are closing input from the public. And any other questions from the group here? No?
That property, the Jernigan Tract, has this fabulous banyan. That's the
does.
banyan
It-
tree property, and it's so beautiful. And it'll be
It is.
right by the condominium, or their townhomes right there. And
Yes.
it's also backs up to the Boy Scouts. So that's a really special little green space area.
It really is, and Barbara and Mary will definitely always stay on top of me on that, and the Boy Scouts too. They will get to use it. I am, digress again, you're going to have lunch with Vince Gizzi tomorrow, our Parks and Recreation Director, to look at access and how it's signage and things of that nature. You know, that's the other aspect, is how it's positioned. So Vince will be looking at that with me tomorrow. So we are on top of this, and I think it's just a nice situation to have that kind of green space right there. So. Yeah, it will be passive. Yeah, the Boy Scouts will be able to use it, and the Wellington Townhomes, and the rest of the public can go out there, and we'll probably make sure we get a couple of benches and things out there that people can sit and reflect on something. You know, parks are a very important part, no doubt about it, with our downtown. So that's why we work on the old City Hall too. We're going to have these we call them pocket parks, you know, throughout the Main Street area. So.
Tell you what, let's finish with 2425, and then we can open up to other questions, because Bob is a rare guest here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Do we have a motion about?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2425, termination of development agreement with Gateway Dunedin LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is passed.
certainly.
Now let's open up for any questions we have of Bob.
Yeah, no,
So what's going on with the Orange Juice building, the old Coca-Cola building?
Coca-Cola, yeah, sure. Coke is an interesting piece. It's 27.5 acres. Obviously, Coke is leaving or left really to go to Bartow. The plant's closed. It does have some environmental aspects. We're trying to work through it right now. Looking how, the first step is, Coke is a very good partner, and they might look at bringing forth a little piece of land for the city, for a wastewater treatment plant. That's something that's been looked at. And then the other aspects is what we do from redevelopment. You know, what's it going to be? And that's another one that's kind of down the road. But that's a key piece. You know, from my perspective, that's critical. The other thing, I'm really proud to say this one, because we've worked on this for 5 years, is we're going to get an affordable housing project in Dunedin. And,
The who project?
Affordable housing project, apartments.
yes.
Affordable housing. And it's going to be on 580. It's over there on Carnation Drive behind Dollar General. And we've tried 4 or 5 years. Deborah, certainly, when she was up there, we presented to her. And we were able to get the right people. We got the right developer. We got the Pinellas County Housing Authority to partner with us, and we got the #1 lottery pick at the state, and guess what? All the stars aligned, and this one's going to happen. And I'm really, really excited about it. It probably won't start to get built till probably the fall of next year, but all the approvals as far as from the state are in play. So this is a big deal for the city, because we have small tracts of land, and we've had a hard time. We've lost out a lot to St. Pete over the years, and this time we beat them. So I'm very happy.
Bob, how many units will we get?
78 units.
78.
78, and it'll be 60 to, I think, 60 to 120% of the median. So it'll also really provide a pretty good broad spectrum for people that are looking for apartments, because apartments are so expensive today. You know, we're seeing numbers, $2,000 for 1 bedroom. You know, so this is really going to be a huge deal for the city. Is this going to solve all the affordable housing needs? No, but it's a step in the right direction. So,
I know it's been a long journey for you, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm excited about that. And from my perspective, we got the strongest downtown going. We have over $20 million in capital projects we're going to be doing downtown. Skinner, a proposed parking garage, the old City Hall, and we want a streetscape, additional phases of Main Street, from where the trail is to Broadway, and that's on the docket for next year too. So we got a lot going on. It's a busy place, but the things that I look at we really don't have any vacancies downtown, unless you can point one to me. I don't see any vacancies. That tells me the health is pretty good, and our tax base is now getting close to $275 million. This started in 1988 at $35 million, so it tells you how far we've come. And we've done this on an incremental type basis. What I see a lot of other cities and municipalities do is they do major public works projects, and they say, we're done, it's up to the merchants. It doesn't work well that way. That's why we do many small projects, and Deborah was very involved with the first artistic bus shelters that we did. Small, but it starts a climate, and it makes people excited, and they see it, and it's that type of feel that we want to keep on going for the downtown. So, anyway, I'm very much digressing, Chairman.
No, no,
So,
I really want to acknowledge you and your department for the major role that you've played in making Dunedin what it is now.
We've got a good department. I want to introduce Carolyn Homers, our new staff person. We're very excited to get Carolyn on board. She has a MBA from USF, undergrad from Gainesville. She's a Gator. So there you go. There you go. But Carolyn's been with us since April, and she's like the air traffic controller. You know, she keeps everything running with us. And of course, we have Trevor Davis, who reaches out. And at the moment, I'm very spoiled. I got Doug Hutchins as a consultant 1 or 2 days a week, and Doug is just critical to make all these capital projects happen. Skinner is extremely complicated from the perspective that you have underground overhead utilities, you have private property conversions, you have easements, you have detours, the list just goes on, and Doug is just excels at that, so we're very happy to have him on board with us. So. Oh, yeah, okay, Carolyn's whispering me here, which is great. We just had, thank you, Carolyn, that's why she's the air traffic controller. We just had a tour of our downtown, the Florida Planning Conference, which was held in Tampa, kind of statewide. Just came and visited our downtown. They wanted to see how we're doing it. And then in October, we have another statewide, the Florida Redevelopment Association is going to bring 2 busloads just to see what's happening downtown, how are we doing it. So we are definitely one of the strongest small downtowns in the state of Florida, no doubt. I know I'm biased, but it's just the way it is, so I can say that pretty confidently. But we're excited about that, and we're going to undertake these capital projects and you know, move forth. So it's an exciting time. It really, really is. We're not letting anything rest. I can tell you that. So, yeah.
Super. This is an opportunity from anyone from the public to bring up something that is not on the agenda.
Sure.
Is there anything?
Sure. I know Citizens Academy, we're going to make a presentation to you here soon, so I think it's great that you're here. And we take all the input that we get seriously, you know, so anybody that wants to talk, or if you're not comfortable here, you can email me at rionsmith@DunedinFL.net, okay? Or you can call me at 727-298-3204. So always love the input and conversation.
Super. Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
I think we are adjourned. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.